Hello, this is Stuart from Hear Me See Me podcast. Today I've got one of our wonderful team leaders. Jackie, as everyone knows, is our Queen of the North. Now Kerry is our Queen of the bit further north. Today I'm talking to Kerry Jones. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Stuart. Yeah. Northwest, I suppose you could call me.
Yeah, thanks. Geography, I was never good at school. I played up too much. So, yeah. But you started off with being a volunteer, didn't you? You came and volunteered with Jackie.
I did. It was quite strange because I think originally it was through a colleague I worked with down south.
Annabelle,
yeah.
Yeah.
And she did a post of her going to her first visit and volunteer, and it was like, oh, God, I want to do that. And I think I remember the guy that you've spoken about years ago that you saw, was it in New York, who went out?
Yeah, Mark Bustos. Yeah.
I saw him, and I remember at the time thinking, God, that's amazing. It's simple, doesn't cost us anything. So through Annabelle, I think I got in touch with you, and you were about to have a knee replacement or something.
Oh yeah.
Just a long time ago. And I was like, right, I'm going to call you back and get involved. But then, I don't know, stuff happened and I never got to call you back. And then saw that Jackie came up with you and launched, and I was like, right, that's it. I've got to get in touch. And I did. And the rest is history, like they say.
So that session I saw you at Liverpool, was that your first session, or had you already been doing it a little while?
No, I'd done a couple before that. So I think I did, my first session was the one after your launch day. So I missed the launch, so I missed all of that going on, and then saw that happen and got in touch with Belinda, I think it was, and I spoke to Jackie, and away I went.
So you then went on to, you now run 8 centres for us in the Northwest.
I do, eight group centres, and we're getting more approaching us, well, all the time really, because they see us out on social media and think, right, they can help us and help our clients. So there's big demand out there.
Well, before we go into it and we talk about all of the projects and life in the Northwest, tell me, because people need to know why are we doing this, and you need the background for that. So where did you grow up, Kerry?
So I grew up in Sussex, sort of halfway between London and Brighton. In between two towns. So I didn't sort of grow up hanging out in towns or anything like that. I sort of relied on parents to give me a lift everywhere. And I just knew that I didn't want to settle there. I wanted to get away as quickly as possible for bigger, brighter things, which I did. But I think it was probably moving to London that kind of started to open up my eyes about homelessness, and just seeing all the rough sleepers and everything, in London, and just feeling powerless, really. But I think at the time I was probably a bit too young to really get my head around what I could do to help that, really. But I mean, as a hairdresser, every single day you do somebody's hair, you're making them, they come in and go out feeling better than when they came in. It's just about making them feel like you care, you listen, they're looked after, and they feel better about themselves at the end of it. So it's kind of a no-brainer to really just use that to help people who can't afford to walk into a salon and don't have what we have. For me, it's a no-brainer. So
so you went, when you went to London, did you move to London, or would you start working in London?
I moved up to London. I worked for Tony and Guy for a long time, which is how I met Annabelle, who kind of introduced me to Haircuts for Homeless. And I'd kind of hit a limit with Tony and Guy. I'd sort of drained them for their education and training and everything. And
I like that. Drained them.
I did, it's like it was there, I took it. But then I thought I just wanted to do something different. So I shifted over and started to do hair and makeup in films and TV. So that took me up to London. And so we spent about 12 years in London doing that, which was amazing. That was really good. But
What
then
sort of work was it? Was it TV or film or?
it was a bit of both, really. Being a hairdresser, my work tended to be a lot more period dramas and period films because the
Right.
strength was on the hair rather than makeup. So I didn't go into like the special effects, makeup, blood and gore. That wasn't my thing. It was more like the hair focus. So period dramas, which I absolutely loved. It was brilliant. Hard work, but it was really good.
You must have been on some big stuff. If you was like over 12 years, you must have.
Yeah, and just worked with just really good British directors, Danny Boyle, Mike Lee.
Mike Lee?
Yeah, he was just,
I love his stuff.
Amazing, absolutely amazing person to work with,
Because it's like, I love the stuff, it's because it's a lot of it's unscripted, like gives them the freedom, doesn't he?
It's a very different way of working, because you're kind of almost creating the person as you go along, because they're creating themselves as they go along rather than having it all kind of really pre-planned. It developed. So it's good. And
what's interesting in that is because I've got this, like we all have this thing of just a hairdresser. And there's recently I've done a tiny little video for Jet Hairdressing, who are brilliant, and Jet Hairdressing are doing this thing because it was apprenticeship week, and it's just trying to get kids to go back into apprenticeships. And the value of this craft that we do, and look at that, like you think I was saying about meeting so many different hairdressers doing Haircuts4Homeless, finding out so much about their work, and then you talking about it. I always presumed, but ignorantly, that when you're working on a film and all that stuff, that you're just in some corner knows who you are, but you've just said about working with the director. What sort of, how close is that part to it? Is it?
Well, when you're working under a hair and makeup designer, so they have the closest working relationship with the director. And I guess they're responsible for creating it along with their team. You're still working really closely with the director on a daily basis because you're there, you're on set, you're tweaking something, you're hearing what they're not happy with, what they are happy with. So you are working really closely with them, and also with the artists as well. With the actors, it's a really close working relationship with them. Hair and makeup and costume department, it's a bit like the bond you have with clients. You can quite often be their prop because they're not always full of confidence and feeling secure in what they're doing. So you're working with them quite closely and intimately before they then go on camera. So I think however you're working as a hairdresser, it's the same thing. You're working really intimately and closely and forming bonds with people about making them feel better about themselves.
Because I had a lovely Annika Phoney. She came on the podcast, and she does a lot of the really sort of superstar music people's hair. And she says like she can be flying around the world in a jet with particular artists. And so it goes back to that hairdresser client relationship. It's more than her just being on there to do the hair. She also is that sort of confidant, like it helps them get in the right headspace and all of that thing. Because the prep before the performance is a crucial part, because it's that makeover from them as a person to them as the character.
That's it.
And you're also helping them with their mental well-being and all that stuff that we do. And so, and that like, what a brilliant industry we're in, that's like, how can you not love being an hairdresser, like.
That's it. I know, but that's it. You have to love doing it. You can't just do it because it's a job, because it shows in your work, I think. It's our calling, isn't it?
And I think that's what does it as well, even with what we do. You can't just, people say, we have a little bit sometimes of like, like there's this thing of, I do get it, like no selfless act is recognised, that's that sort of, and because we sort of document, I mean, all these lovely pictures behind me of what we do. But if someone purely goes into doing what we do, just for that, it shows. If you're not doing it to be, if you've not got an empathy with our guests, and you're not really believe in it, if you're just doing it for some sort of PR thing, it shows through really quickly. And you're not going to be a long-term volunteer or team leader with that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny because that's an area that I don't think I'm ever going to be comfortable with, is having my photo taken my face on what we do. It's kind of funny. The first session I did, Jackie sort of posted the photos after, and I was like, oh my God, I've just got my serious concentrating hair cutting face on. And I said, Jackie, you got to tell me when you're taking a photo of me so I can at least look semi-decent. And she's just laughed. But, you know,
I like people to warn me so I can breathe in a bit, you know, I like, you know, the group photo, sometimes I pass out when they take too long to vote. Like oxygen, but and the thing is, you've got nothing to worry about, because Jackie's face looks like she's extremely constipated when she's. We call it a constipated face.
I think it's because we're both dark haired. We've kind of got that like serious dark look about us. Yeah.
So you did that for 12 years. What did you go then back into salon work after that?
No, after that, kind of as part of my job, I worked on a film in Liverpool working with Danny Boyle. So I was in Liverpool for 3 months and met my now husband just out in town one night. So did the back and forth up.
Oh, look, the red roses behind you. Look, the light's still there. Look at that. Look.
But so did the distance thing, and then just thought, I've had enough of London. I'm ready for another change. Yeah. So moved up, but I never really got to establish myself up here. I tended to go back down to London because that's where my contacts were and where I was known by the makeup designers. And then I started having a family, so it wasn't really a job to go back to after that. It was too long hours. So I stopped and then just work for myself now, set my own hours.
And you're freelance hairdresser now?
I'm freelance now, which I'm really, really grateful to have that freedom and balance with family life and work. So,
I think I'd like to, I must find out the numbers for it. But there's a very high percentage of our volunteers that are freelance. And I think it's the freedom that allows them to work around the sessions, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people do tend to have Mondays off, but I do get other volunteers that come to me and have said, or people that want to volunteer that have said, I can do a Tuesday or a Thursday. But it's, for me, that makes it a little bit trickier because I have to try and keep it so it can take over my life. I could quite easily do this every day of the week, but I have to earn a living as well.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to strike a happy medium with days. But I think sometimes if they work in a salon or a barber's, it can be a little bit limiting to the time they've got.
Yeah, because if they've got a staggered day off, then it's there's a limit to the stage we're at of Haircuts for Homeless. There's a limit to sort of across the week, you know, when we can do it. And sometimes I do get asked for centres. There was a lovely lady phoned me last week. She phoned me on Thursday because she'd just taken over this project after lockdown, just getting it going again. And it was in North London, but they were doing this thing on a Friday lunchtime.
Right.
You know, and I just said to her, look, I know, I said, the thing is, while you're struggling to get people there to cut hair, someone had done the same thing. They said they were coming and then hadn't told her they weren't. So she got there at the very last minute. And I said to her, that the thing is, I'm not going to promise you, I doubt very much I can get someone for you because hairdressers have to earn money. You know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is still generically the busy time. You know, that's your good days. You know, I had a salon for 30 years. You know, like Friday and Saturday paid for Monday to Thursday. You know, so it tends to be why most of our projects are Monday to Wednesday. We've got very few any other time. I do one in Knightsbridge in London, which is odd because it's very affluent. Right near Harrods, I do one.
Yeah, I've seen you.
And that's a Friday night, but that's quite good because sometimes people are coming just finishing work in London and they just come straight to that. It's not a it's a difficult one. So when we went, when I saw you, because let's talk about what's happened with COVID, because with the lockdowns and stuff like that, I mean, we were flying, like, just to the point where we were going up another level with charity before the pandemic. And I saw you there before then. That was at Whitechapel Centre.
Their drop-in centre. Yeah,
it was packed, wasn't it? It was just a great place.
Yeah. It was amazing, and unfortunately, their setup has changed because of COVID. And they're still not quite sure what they're going to kind of go back to. We're still working with them in other.
I've just lost you, my darling.
Got me?
Yeah, I've got you now.
Yeah. So they've got other centres, but then the main drop-in centre was just brilliant. I loved it because they just came in off the streets. They literally came from their night shelter where they'd slept, or they come in off the streets just for a hot drink, to use the computers, for support, for a counsellor. And so it was just like this massive room of people, some not. And it was just buzzing, they all just, like, me and Jackie, I think, did 24, 25 people in 2 hours, just whizzing through. But that did sadly have to close because of COVID. So it's not, they haven't quite got that set up again.
Yeah, I think there was talk of them having a new building, wasn't there? Because that building was on its way.
They are hoping to have another hostel, but and that should be around about March time this year. But at the moment they splintered off because COVID. All the councils were given the money to put people up in accommodation, weren't they, to get them off the street for COVID. And that pretty much worked. I think they had quite a large success of getting them all off the streets and putting them up in a hotel. But then that contract ended and they had to move out. So we're just waiting to hear what the new centre is going to be like. Hopefully it'll be a similar setup, because you want to reach as many people as possible. Not be spread out too thin over lots of different centres. To have one place where you're reaching a lot of people is just great.
This is a challenge we've had for anyone that's interested, because it's not as, sometimes you see it in the centres, like we've got the Whitechapel Mission in London, and you've got the Whitechapel Centre, and it's very much, they were very similar. But unfortunately, like the Mission, they do amazing work, and I'm still their biggest fan. But unfortunately, a year ago, I think it's a year now, that they said we couldn't go anymore. And I was devastated because I'd got to know them guys so well. But what happened in lockdown, they had an office area. And the lovely Sonia, who's behind me there she is.
Oh, yeah.
Love of my life. She's she was in the office, and she used to just sort of, like, in the corner, and she moves the table and all that, and we used to do it in the office. And of course, like a lot of things, when it all got closed they never closed, actually. They kept it on a doorstep service. But they used the time to remodel, so they set up a room for an extra Sonia. But it was all permanently set in there, so we had nowhere else to go in there. And I was so sad when she said, like, we love it here, but we just got nowhere to put it now. And the thing is, people see it like that, but that place was buzzing. And I mean this in the right way, but it's almost like got the atmosphere of like a busy salon, like on a Saturday. As opposed to maybe you go to a little residential centre and you've got 2 or 3 people. That's the sort of like the equivalent of a Saturday afternoon.
Definitely.
And the other ones are like a Monday morning. Like it's a bit like that. And you can't get, that buzz of the atmosphere and and the laugh, because let's remind people what fun we had. I mean, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, everybody I meet, it's truly humbling, because you can go in there feeling like, I don't know, stuff's going on in your life, because we all have stuff going on in our lives. And you walk in there and that just disappears, because the humor and their resilience, I guess, it's just amazing. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And the stories they tell, the laughs they have with us is just brilliant. You can't beat it.
I think also what always strikes me is how they look out for each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, especially so in our the Whitechapel Men's Harm Reduction Centre. It's for, I think it's for men with sort of age 40 and over with alcohol problems, and a lot of them, they have a really hard time in there. They do, but the bond between them all is just amazing, and between the staff as well. That's one of my favourite centres. I just love the atmosphere when I go in there. It's just lovely. I just want to hug them all.
I know.
They are just so grateful, and they always ask how I'm doing. And you know, they found out, you know, over the sessions, they found out that I've got 2 girls and the ages they are, and they remember, you know, I go back the next time, like, how are you girls getting on? And you just think, like, you know, you're asking me. You know, how I'm getting on is nothing compared to how you guys are getting on.
It never ceases to amaze me. I said on Hetty's one that came out last week that Henrietta. I always call her Hetty because I've got Hetty in Milton Keynes and Henrietta in the buses. But you know, like when we first done the first session on the bus, and I saw and from Whitechapel Mission, you know, I hadn't seen Barrington for a couple of years, you know, and I just saw him on the corner, and it was like, Barrington, you know, and he's, how you doing, man, and all that. And I took his car. I said, look, I will be back. He said, tell me if you're going to be at the bus, and I gave him my number. And then Christmas, I got a text. I think it might have even been Christmas morning. Happy Christmas to you and your family.
From him.
From Barrington.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
just
he took his time out, you know? Like, how can you know, like, that's like, I don't know, I had goosebumps. I was like, really, I said, close to tears.
It restores a bit of faith in humanity, doesn't it? With everything else going on, I think.
In his life,
if they can think, you know, think of you at a time like that, then it restores a bit of faith in humanity.
Yeah. So if ever, you know, anyone wonders why we do it, and it's like any challenge, you know, like as it's challenges running Haircuts for Homeless, and you'll know now, being a team leader, that you have that challenge that we, you know, sometimes people don't do what they're going to say they're going to do, and sometimes centres aren't as cooperative as other centres, and all of the things that we do. And when the frustration comes, the next thing is you get like the Barrington. Then just think, nah, I don't. I'll deal with all that. This is why I'm here. I'm here for these people. You know, you know, that's what I'm for, and I'll put up with the other stuff. And I think people, have you noticed a sort of decline in the amount of people pre-COVID to post-COVID, like the amount of people that are willing to come and help?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the people that I have on my team are amazing. They're brilliant. They're committed. Couldn't do it without them at all. But I do just think, come on, we need some more people to get involved. Because it's 2 hours, you know, we are all sort of juggling, working and earning our money, but also giving something back. But it's just 2 hours once a month, or as many times a month as people want to, really. But it is only 2 hours in the morning or in the afternoon. So the way I see it is, you can, if you work for yourself, you can always take clients either side of it. And you know, it isn't, to me, it's not a lot to ask. And I think that what you get back from it is just well worth the 2 hours of time.
Listen to Kerry, everyone. Listen to Kerry. Be a Kerry. Don't be a Karen, be a Kerry. Because sorry to any volunteers that are called Karen. I do apologise. but and that's the thing. I think getting across to people that the good far outweighs the bad, like by far. And as well, our minimum requirement. So we don't put any pressure on volunteers, but our minimum requirement before, like, please don't like take up the role or you know, think about being a volunteer if you can't commit to the minimum. Now the minimum is 2 hours once every 6 weeks. Now that adds up to like something like 16 hours, 17 hours a year. Now, if you can't spare 17 hours a year, you may want to question the balance in your life. And I guarantee you, for those, for whatever you lose monetary wise or personal time wise, it will be, you'll reap the benefits 100-fold for those.
That's it. And I think the common question with volunteers is like, well, what do I need to bring? What do I need to do? Well, you don't really need to do anything other than show up with your basic kit. You know, you've got people like me, people like Jackie, all the team leaders. We do the rest for you. We set it up, and we're there to support you, to support the clients. You know, you've just got to turn up and smile and have a laugh.
I love that. You've got to turn up and smile and have a laugh. Guys, we've got to make an advert out of this. We're going to have to, you know, this has got to be the advert for Haircuts for Homeless Volunteers. You know, and that's why, and you just touched my heart there, because, you know, as you know, recently, I was really, really fortunate, and I don't, you know, my kids reckon I haven't stopped banging on about it, but that's a falsehood, about me getting an MBE. You know, they say to me, Dad, you got an MBE? I went, yeah, all right, yeah, all right. But what I genuinely mean in that is like, from what you've just said as well, I couldn't have done any of that without, particularly the team leaders. The team leaders, you know, 100% the volunteers, you know, without I'm just Joe Bloggs running around on my own doing it. So without the volunteers, it doesn't happen. But a key element is those team leaders. As you just said, you get it going, you sort all out the bits and pieces. You know, you have a kit of stuff there ready for people to back them up. You liaise with the team and with the, you know, the team leaders are crucial to Haircuts4Homeless. You know, and then as Jackie did, I mean, going back to that, you started off as a volunteer. And then
I had an amazing mentor with her, because she is, I mean, you know, she is the queen of the Northwest and pretty much all of it in my books. She just, you know, blows anyone out of the water. So, you know, to work with her and have her to kind of help me set this up was just brilliant. I'd have still got there, but it was that much easier having her to show me the ropes. And, you know, even now I'm still texting her, you know, several times a week and going, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, you're doing your dates. Like, you know, it's teamwork as well. And I think for me, that was the other thing, was because I work on my own. You know, it's a bit lonely. I do miss that buzz of being in a salon. So being involved with Haircuts4Homeless, I've got my little team again to sort of bandy ideas around and connect with. So for me, that's the other side of it, is I get something out of it because I'm working as part of a team again.
And that's, I mean, I know for a fact that it really helped. It helped me no end, and everyone's heard me say about that. But what they probably don't hear me say so much, it really helped my sister Belinda. Because when we lost the business, when I had to, you know, throw the towel in, I had this to focus on. At that point, she didn't, you know, and she'd been mother hen to that business for 30 years. She was, as you know, Belinda, being mother hen to this project. She was that to the salon. You can imagine it, can't you? She was front of house on a Saturday. She was run the office like clockwork through the week. And she was really, even though they didn't always appreciate it, she was all the staff's mother hen as well. They didn't like it when she told them what she had to, you know, because no one likes to be told what to do. But they soon came to her when they had problems, and she sorted a lot of stuff out for them, you know. So, and then it stopped, you know, overnight, because of the nature of how it happened to us. It just stopped. And she would, you know, and getting her teeth into this, and as you know now, you know, all of that, without that, it takes you away from the other aspects of your life, doesn't it?
That's it. Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah. I think I can't say enough about, what people will get from it. And I think our sort of mission for this year is to get across, because somehow I need to change the message a little bit, because we see the images and we see what we do, but as you say, with things like this is good, because if there's hairdressers out there listening to this, they may get a better idea of what it's like.
Yeah.
And maybe we need some new videos. L'Oreal have kindly said that they make some new videos with me, but get across the fact that what great fun it is as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, because I know there's people out there that want to get involved.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's nervous. It's the fear of the unknown, isn't it? And I didn't have a clue what I was going to be facing when I first turned up. I'd spoken to Jackie on the phone, and she said, some people come in off the streets and they won't have clean hair. Then, you have to let your standards from what you expect in a salon go. You're not doing your wash, cut and blow dries and your high standard finishes and everything. But what you are doing is giving them that human touch. But I didn't know what to expect until I turned up. But it just didn't matter. That went out the window. Once they sat in your chair, you were just working your magic like you do on anybody. And once you start talking to them and just start to get a feel of their stories and how they've ended up where they are, that's all that matters. And I think once you've done that first session, that's it. You know what to expect after that. I had a new volunteer yesterday afternoon, and he said, I'm a bit nervous, because I didn't quite know what to expect. And I said, that's understandable. That was me on the first session, but next time you come, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Did he enjoy it?
He did, yeah. No, he did. He did enjoy it. Yeah. No,
I think over the years, because it's well over 7 years now, I've not had many that have really said, do you know what? Thanks for the opportunity, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I've had more than that. They just haven't. They're the ones I haven't heard from. But the couple that have sort of said to me, look, I can see what you're doing. I love it. It's not for me. I can really understand that. But also I can say that it's such a minority, because nearly everyone, it blows their mind, really. You can't help but be affected by doing this work, because it changes your outlook on other things in your life, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. No, you definitely, I mean, there's things that you can relate to an extent, but then you can't, because people with drink problems and the drug problems and everything. Yes, there's other people that have got problems in that area, but it's actually nowhere near as bad as these people are dealing with. So it kind of, I think it just gives you, I don't know what I'm trying to say really. It just helps you deal with your own shit that's going on, I think, and put it into perspective. And it pulls you out of any rut that you might be in, because there's always somebody worse off than you.
Yeah, makes you. It fills you full of gratitude.
Yeah.
And then I must say that sometimes that some people come to me afterwards and say, it's made me feel really guilty. I feel really guilty about everything I've got, and all of these things. And my advice immediately is to turn that guilt into gratitude. You don't need to feel guilty about working hard and having a nice house and all of those things, and having a lovely family. You don't need to feel guilty about that. But if you can just appreciate it a bit more, then it's been a really worthwhile thing for you.
No, that's interesting. I've not had anyone come with that side of it, but I can see how some people would feel that way.
I mean, it's just happened to me a few times where people have been like that, and especially because sometimes it's such a polar opposite from people's life. As I said, I've got session stylists come and help us who are literally flying in jets around the world, and then they're in this little homeless place, and this someone's got nothing, and then they show them all this gratitude, and it just blows their mind, you know, like, of the difference.
And that's it. I think, you know, it's so easy to feel judged. Well, you do feel judged by a lot of people in a lot of situations, but not once do you feel judged by the people that have got nothing. They don't care. They just care that you've given up your time to go there and given the time of day. That's all they care about.
That's really interesting. I've not thought of that before, but as you've said it, there's no judgment.
They don't judge you for what you've got and where you've come from and what car you drive or whatever. You know, they're the ones sitting there with nothing, and all they care about is how good it is that we've given up our time, which doesn't cost us anything.
No.
And it's like, it's just time. It's time. That's all it is.
And that, you know, it is said there's no such thing as an altruistic act, and you know, because if you're getting something from it, you're not, you know, it's not free. And we do get something from it, you know. We don't get, you know, that's the thing. It's how can you not benefit from it, you know? And I think we all knew how much we missed it when it got taken away from us. As I've said before, those months in lockdown, I didn't realise how much good this stuff did me. Because I was left alone with my head, and then I realised why I used to drink, you know. And that's the thing as well, that in my recovery, I spent the first few years helping other alcoholics, you know, in the way that we do. And then this just evolved into doing this. And now, you know, like when I do sit down with someone, and we've got a lovely guy, Milton Keynes, called Shane, and I put something on at Christmas because I'd sat down a few times with him. I'd hardly seen him in 2 years, you know. I only saw him every few months, but it was almost, we had such a strong connection that he was asking for me, you know, because I come a long way, I might be a few minutes late. Is he coming? Is he coming? And it's something to do with me personally. It's just the fact that connection we've got as two struggling alcoholics, you know, like, and then this thing he done at Christmas where he's got his own place, and Sharon, the lovely team leader there, she put it on, and she got a message with me. He's going, "No, Stuart, I've got my own place, and I want you to know I'm doing well." And I was crying my eyes out, you know, like and that's the connection we make. And I suppose that's why I've got that empathy with them, because I am one of them. I am that. But even if you're not, even if you know, you don't have to be an alcoholic to come and volunteer. You just have to be a human being, you know, like, and you'll relate in whatever way it is. And you'll be shocked at how interesting so many people are. Definitely.
Yeah, because they weren't born on the streets. They've all come from a huge spectrum of backgrounds and lives and careers and achievements, you know, and it's fascinating. I could talk to them all day about it, because it's just really interesting, you know, how people have ended up how they are.
And do you think it's because not many people do talk, that's why they open up so readily?
Yeah, I think so, because I think sometimes as British people, we can be a bit like scared to be direct and ask questions, can't we? And I know when I started out volunteering, I was kind of like, you know, is it a bit too personal to say, well, how have you ended up in this situation? You know, where have you come from? What's your story? But I think they enjoy telling that because they're not ashamed of it. You know, it's educating people that, you know, they are worth something, and they are people. So yeah, I do think that they do enjoy talking about it. I don't think somebody approaching them on the street is gonna get that out of them, or even really take the time to have that conversation with them. So it's a space for them to tell their story, definitely.
And I think that goes back to the hairdressing industry, is the fact that we are in that privileged position of really being, we're in someone's space. We're in their bubble. That other things aren't. Even a counsellor sits the other side, you know, on another chair.
You know?
you want to be a counsellor, you should really maybe like stand behind them and touch their shoulders, and it'll all come out, because that's that magic thing, isn't it? That you lay your hands on someone and it all just comes out.
Yeah, well, I did a young lad a session a couple of weeks ago, and I can't even remember what I asked him first of all, but I asked him something which just then kind of spiraled on, and then he sat there and he went, he said, I feel like I've had a counselling session. I said, more to you than I have to my support worker. He said, and it's like, well, that's just how it goes with us, isn't it? You know, it just, like you say, it flows and pours out. He felt comfortable, and one question led to another, and off he went. But he felt better after he left.
So what do you want for the future then, for what you do with us?
So I would just love to be able to reach more people. As I said, we do get centres getting in touch, and at the moment, as I say, I have a great team. We work really well together, and we work with the centres, and we don't turn anyone away that we currently work with, but I would like to expand on that, and I need more people to come on board and make that commitment of ideally once a month would be really good for us. To really sort of expand, because there's loads more people out there that need our services and need that connection. So please do get in touch.
Because I think, because it all began with Haircuts4Homeless in homeless centres across the country, you know, but it very quickly evolved into something more than the name. So we go to women's refuges, you know, victims of domestic violence, and you know, we've worked with ex-service people and all sorts of things. So it's opened up. I've even recently noticed a real sharp lift in the amount of questions I'm getting from food banks.
Right.
Food banks are starting to approach me all the time now, and I'm going to test a couple of them out. I'm going to do one local to me and test it out. Actually, that's on my to-do list for today. Because it is people in need. You know, it's that if you need to queue for food, the chances are you probably could do with a little treat. You know, like,
and I think you've said it before, being homeless isn't just somebody on the street. A homeless person is somebody without their own home, that is moving from sofa to sofa, or hostel to hostel, or bed and breakfast. You know, it's not their home. They can't set it up. It's not secure for them, and that makes them homeless. And there's loads of people in that situation, not just the people we see on the street. So it's a lot of different people in a different walks of life that need it.
So we need sort of volunteers to come in, which then enables you to do what Jackie did with you, is to mentor your team into team leaders.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, the ones who've got the time to commit to it, and you know, and then you can sort of see how it works, and we just need to get people back into giving, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, come on board.
Come on board. What a great way to finish it. Oh, Kerry, thank you so much. And I can't wait to get up there. I've done a little mini tour of the North recently. I admitted that we didn't have enough, but maybe we'll do a little mini tour of the Northwest now. We'll come up and we're trying. Have you got any of your projects that are on a Tuesday? Are they all on a Monday?
No, they're all on a Monday. They're all on a Monday at the moment. So
we could come up and do what we'll probably do is do the morning one on a Monday. The afternoon one. And then we'll nip down and do some with Jackie, one of the many ones on the Tuesday, because it's quite good for us coming from Essex to go all the way up and try and do a few at once. You know. I'll arrange that for within the next sort of soon as I can.
You're a busy man. No, it'd be good. We'd love to have you.
We'll do that. Well, Kerry, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And for someone who don't like their photograph, I couldn't believe you said yes to coming on here. But I twisted, I pulled the emotional one. I said, "Oh, it's going to help the charity," and then
you're a hard man to say no to. That's why you got to where you have got to.
I don't know. My wife manages very well. Right. Okay. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care. Thanks.